Well, if you're watching this full episode of Movie Show Plus, you probably know by now that I have a slight obsession with Mr. Rogers, Mr. Fred Rogers. His show had a huge impact on me growing up. I watched it as a child. I remember it always came on right before Sesame Street, and it just really had an impact on me and has to this day. I now have a child myself, Clayton, and he is obsessed with Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, which is made by the Fred Rogers Company and is the existence that Fred Rogers' legacy has lived on into today's world. However, that question right there is the crux of the new film, Won't You Be My Neighbor? A documentary that I just felt was fantastic and is going to be great for any fan of Mr. Rogers, and it's going to bring back all kinds of memories for those that grew up with the man. But what this documentary does so well is it doesn't just tell the story of Mr. Rogers and his professional career and give you insight in his personal life. You hear from his children and his wife. But what it does is it takes Mr. Rogers and asks that exact question. Is he relevant today? Would he be relevant today? And further than that, was he successful in trying to influence a generation of children with this mentality? There's a lot of people, as addressed in the film, there are a lot of people that give Mr. Rogers some slack and who find him to be not a good influence because of the idea that everybody thinks that they're special now, and that's why there are team sports now that don't have any winners, and everybody is great, and there are no losers in life. Of course, anybody who watched Mr. Rogers or knows the first thing about him knows that that's not exactly what he was saying. That was not his message. It was a little bit deeper than that, and he says it better than anybody, so I'll let you watch his shows and watch interviews with him and watch this documentary to really find out what he was all about. But it addresses all of those things, and I thought that makes this documentary very timely. This isn't just a nostalgic trip down memory lane, although it is that. It also is very timely in that it addresses Mr. Rogers and all of his themes and all of the things that he tackled, and it puts it into a perspective that is so important right now in such a polarized landscape that we call our country. Won't You Be My Neighbor is a great watch. I think you will like it. I loved it. And whether or not you think that his message was a success or not, I know that for me it personally was, because it touched me. So I want you to go see this. Won't You Be My Neighbor? I give it a solid A.
You literally could have taken any kid off the corner, but you chose me. Why?
These fools in the streets acting like they got something to prove. They only want to hustle for the money and the flash. But not you. You're special.
Mr. Rogers isn't the only guy in the neighborhood this week. We have also a movie called Superfly. This is, of course, a remake of the classic blaxploitation film of the 70s. This film, though, it's directed by a guy named Director X, and he's a big music video director, and you can kind of tell this entire new movie seems like a music video, and it's people living the life. But what it kind of is missing is any sense of purpose. I'm not really sure why they wanted to remake the old Superfly. This movie itself isn't all that fly. It isn't all that super. I didn't really like it, and I give it a solid C. Of course, the biggest movie that's out this weekend is Incredibles 2, but I'm not even going to waste my time reviewing that this week, because I know you're probably going to go see it anyway with your children, so have fun at that. Let me know what you think of that movie. You guys can hit me up on Twitter at Tom Santilli. Go to the website, movieshowplus.com, and talk to me all about what you guys thought of the latest films. We got Incredibles 2, you got Superfly, and then you got Won't You Be My Neighbor. All of those coming out right before next week's big film, which is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I will see you then.